with people that say that you can just get over it and just, just calm down. It's never that simple, and it never was for me, and it was very confusing when I didn't know any better. My name is Charlotte Franks. I am an executive assistant, a sister and a daughter, but I also have anxiety. But I am more than a label. My mob is Gubbi Gubbi from southeast Queensland, but I was born in Melbourne and grew up in Hamilton on Gunditjmara country. When people hear about my mental illness, or when I tell them, they say, "Oh yeah, I get worried sometimes too." And to an extent, yeah, that's kind of what it is, but really it's not to the full depths that really it happens for me. For me, it's quite physical. So I will be like physically shaking. I can't regulate my breathing properly. My heart's pounding, and it just feels like I'm being crushed from the inside out. I've been dealing with anxiety my whole life. Even looking back on some childhood stories, we now recognise that as anxiety. Like me having to constantly know where my parents are. If they finish work at 5 o'clock, the second it ticked over to 5:01, I felt like I was drowning, dying, that the world was ending. Even though I knew logically that they were just leaving work and traffic happens and they're going to the supermarket, whatever, my brain was still telling me, they're dead, you're gonna die, you're alone, nothing good is happening anymore, and the world is ending, basically. Just from the second it ticked over, and I couldn't stop it, no matter how. Couldn't logic myself out of the situation in my head.
What was it like through high school with anxiety?
Oh, through high school with anxiety, that was fun. No, it really wasn't. In high school, I still actually didn't realise I had full-blown an anxiety disorder. I just thought, they're like, oh yeah, Charlotte's, she's quiet, she's a bit of a, she worries a lot, she's nervous. And again, just because it was so all-consuming, it was basically, part of my personality that I was anxious and nervous and quiet and awkward, but it was just out of pure fear and panic because of the anxiety. So VCE especially was really, really tough. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and the panic of exams and tests were causing me to procrastinate to a point where it was going to start damaging my grades really, really badly. My parents at the time didn't really understand what was going on because I'm the only person in my family with a mental illness. So my sister and my parents don't have anxiety or any other mental illness, so it's just me. So my parents didn't quite understand what was happening to me or why. So they just thought, you need to calm down, just focus. Just focus, just go and just do it. Why aren't you doing your work? And that caused a lot of arguments, crying, fights, the whole, melodrama. And it did culminate to nearly passing out prior to my Year 12 exams. My body was trying to pass out, I believe. I was halfway between passing out and being in a massive panic attack, which was great. So my vision I couldn't see. My vision went black. My eyes, my pupils dilated fully, that you couldn't see the colour of my eyes. And then my hearing went. So I was deaf and blind for a good 2 minutes and just sweating with my heart pumping and racing and hyperventilating. And I had no idea what was happening to me. And that's when I think my family realised that it wasn't me just being dramatic, that it was a really serious thing that I needed to get under control. After I moved out of home, that's when I started to really investigate why I was the way I was. And just because talking with my partner, we both realised that that's not normal, the way I react and respond to things, and that I really needed to see someone and sort something out. Yeah. A bad day for me is a long one. It will be a lot of putting off tasks I need to do quite often. If it's a super bad day, I probably wouldn't make it to work, but I do manage to usually muscle my way through the panic of telling someone that I'm not having a good time mentally, and I have that rapport with my boss, with my CEO, that I can let her know that I'm really not coping right now, and that I'll let her know when I'm a bit more with it, really. That's the hardest thing, is letting people know, because I don't want to. I really don't. I still don't every day. If there's something wrong, I really don't want to tell people, but they need to know so they can give me space to heal and deal with it myself. It might not look like I'm struggling. I might just be pottering around the house doing little bits and pieces, but my brain is just this whirlpool of disaster, really, and a lot of not quite compulsive behaviours, but overreactions to messiness if things wouldn't go exactly to plan, to the T. There'd be like a meltdown, so I'd either be massively upset or incredibly angry and frustrated, so it'd be almost like an emotional outburst and that sort of stuff. So the reaction didn't equal what the situation called for.
On the vice versa, what does a good day look like?
A good day, yeah, it's not much. It's just sort of like I'm functioning normally, and I only really understood what normal was after I started medication, because my anxiety impacted every single aspect of my life and personality until I started medication, that I didn't realise how bad it really was. So the typical sort of mindfulness, like exercises and that sort of stuff, don't really work for me very well, and it's different for everyone. But for me, my anxiety it's chemical, basically. I can't do anything about it. It's just how my brain works, and it's how I was born. So I have to take medicine to regulate all the hormones and chemicals in my head.
And does medication work?
Yeah, so medication does work for me, doesn't work for everyone, and there's always a different balance, but I think I've found a good, for now, and this time in my life, I've found a good balance. A misconception around anxiety would be that you can just, get over it, just calm down. For a lot of people, it's all-consuming. It will invade every single aspect of your thought and mind, because it's in your head. And you can't escape your head because it's you. It's you, and you can't escape yourself, as hard as you try. But with people that say that you can just get over it and just calm down, it's never that simple, and it never was for me. And it was very confusing when I didn't know any better. And I thought that everyone felt this way all the time and they could cope with it just fine. And I was like, why can't I function the same way everyone else is? What am I doing wrong? Why am I so weak? Why am I not coping with this the same way everyone else is? And it turns out that it's because not everyone else was like me. To say that people can't live a happy and productive life with a mental illness, it's very sad, and they're wrong. Or if it's themselves that have the mental illness and they're saying that, then they obviously need more help. There's always more options, and even if it's not working, there are always there's always more than one treatment for every single mental illness. And again, quite often they are permanent, and that's okay. Everyone has something permanent that they'd maybe rather not have, but it's just how we manage it and get on with our lives. I think I want people to know that it can be a lifelong thing. For me, it will be, like every single day, every moment. But I've made my peace with that. The advice I would give to someone with anxiety or they're thinking they have anxiety is obviously always seek medical opinions from a GP or a trusted doctor. The next step is treating it. That might be through therapy, behavioural therapy, and being able to like change your patterns and change your thinking, or medication like myself, or a combination of both. I think mental illnesses are not as taboo a topic as they once were. People are less awkward around talking about mental health, and there's more awareness and resources especially available to maintain and lead a normal and happy life, whatever that definition is for you. So mental illness doesn't define who you are and how you have to live your life.